Alright, hello everyone, welcome to the last pickups video of 2022. It was in the post holiday week right here, and I hope everybody else's was as fruitful as mine. I have a surprising amount of things to get through here, although we pretty much just call it, it's not the December 2022 pickups, it's basically the last week of December 2022 pickups, because this is pretty much where all of this shit came from, you get gifts and you get gift cards and all this shit, and it burns a hole in your pocket, and you go and you spend it immediately. And I'm, incredibly, looking at my stuff right here. It's mostly Switch games. It's a lot of fun, cool, interesting Switch games, and I'm just like, holy shit! Nice, very very nice holiday season, where a lot of cool shit happened, and I hope everybody else had as nice of a time with that as I did. So let's just get started with pretty much the only thing that's not modern at all in here. This is just a very silly little thing. It's NHL 98 on the PS1. I didn't already have this, even though it's probably the most common hockey game of all the hockey games on PS1, let alone the NHL series from EA. And I was surprised that I didn't have it in some way, because this is probably one of the most memorable years that I have of top up playing this version in particular with my dad. That's how I learned all the names of the guys that would be on the top lines or the top two lines in the game, and all the goalies and stuff like that. So I didn't have this on PS1 because I actually had it on Genesis. I have a complete copy on Genesis, which I wanted, because it's the weird version. It's weird that, it still got released on Super and Genesis. Even more so than Madden and FIFA, you kind of expect those, but hockey lasted a while too. And I've got other, NHL games all over the place, and I wouldn't have necessarily needed to get this, except if you've noticed while I've been holding this up, this is a greatest hits copy. I don't know if I've ever seen this before. This is a greatest hits copy of NHL 98, and I'm sure it's sold enough to get into the greatest hits range, but why would you do that, though? You can even see it's got the reflective greatest hits design on the disc and everything. This is legitimately a game that got a greatest hits re-release, and unlike most greatest hits games, this is just not something that you see every day. So yeah, I just picked it up because it's a weird one. I'm going to grab that. It's not expensive. It's just a weird little quirky thing to just add to my collection, because it's just unusual to me. Very fun. Like I said, most of what is here is Switch stuff, so we're going to leave that sort of to the end. You might be a little surprised there's no PS5 this month. There is, however, 3 PS4 titles, which we'll look at real quick, starting with King of Fighters 15 on the PS4. Like I said, it's not PS5. This is a game that has a proper PS5 physical release, but that game didn't go on sale for $15 twice during the month of December on Amazon's sometimes crazy sales, and there's a couple things in here. Pretty much the only things that weren't directly from gift cards or gifts is stuff that was purchased from Amazon from a really crazy low price sale. So King of Fighters 15, I kind of held out. I didn't even buy it the first time it went on sale. I was like, no, you're not going to buy that. Don't worry. Don't do that. Because you still have King of Fighters 14 that you paid $40 for the fancy special edition with all the characters in it, and you haven't played it. And just don't forget, Derek, that you're really bad at King of Fighters. Maybe that or Street Fighter, there are not games that you are worse at, because you don't really play them that much, and then you pop them in and play them for a little bit and remember, oh, I'm really bad at these. That's why I don't spend that much time on them. But $15 on Amazon for the PS4 version of 15. Of course, has the little box for PS5 upgrade available. That's fine. But just sort of me trying to push myself into knowing the King of Fighters series, because I really like SNK, and I like SNK for everything surrounding and including the fighting games. But like I said, I'm just so bad at the fighting games, I don't know them very in depth. So this is me sort of trying to make myself play the one that has everything in it, which of course I haven't. 14 and 15. and, you know, several other ones, not just on the Neo Geo Mini, but like on the Orochi Saga that I have on the Wii, and just here and there stuff. I have not really played these that much because I get discouraged very easily from it, but in theory, I really, really like the series, and $15 on sale for that, not bad. And then we have, I sort of stopped really going hard at the VR games, but what I will buy a VR game for now is if it is a non-VR game that has a VR mode in it, like this one does, Super Stardust Ultra VR. And this game, I don't really know that much about it, but I know that it's got, like, it's that sort of, like, sensory overload with a lot of, you know, futuristic vibes and, like, techno music and stuff like that. Sort of like you get from, like, say, the Tempest, like, 4000 or Geometry Wars or stuff like that. So it's very much like that, but it's also got a VR mode in it. It's Super Stardust Ultra VR, which I've seen usually pretty high up on the list of, like, best like PSN titles and stuff like that. So this wasn't too expensive, so I was happy to grab this, both for the fact it has a VR mode and also is just sort of that type of game. I usually gets pretty high praise, so that's cool. And then we got one more, RPGolf Legends. Also got the little box for the PS5 upgrade. This is actually a limited run release, but as I think a lot of us are aware at this point, limited run releases don't just mean you can buy them from limited run. We'll see that later. Several times, as a matter of fact. RPGolf Legends was a game that I felt like I should have immediately pre-ordered when they went up for the pre-order on limited run, but then I stopped myself because I saw, for one thing, the Kemco logo here. And the Kemco logo, especially with a lot of the RPGs that they've been getting out from limited run, I don't, like, when I see them, I don't really know how to differentiate them all. And so this one definitely would have, you know, some way I've differentiated it from other things. It's a golf game. It's a golf game, and it might be a lot like Golf Story. But then I would stop myself and be like, is it going to be as good as Golf Story? Do you really think that? So I didn't until it went on sale for like $24 on Amazon. It might still be on that sale, that price from Amazon if you want to pick this up. So that was enough for me to pull the trigger. And my expectations are a bit lowered, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. But in related news, I also bought Sports Story the day that it came out because I've been waiting for that for years now. So that's also on the eShop. And if that does get a limited run release, I will be buying it. Before we get into... Oh, there's actually one more PS4 game. I forgot about that. This is a big box. And then lastly, similar to the reasons to buy RPGolf Legends, this is Lethal League. It's a funky, very stylized sports game that I've seen come through so many times in its limited run, regular release, and whatnot. And I always kind of hold off on it because I have no idea exactly what it's supposed to be. But then this box version right here that is Japanese, I assume Japanese. Yeah, it's got Sarah A on it. So I thought this looked pretty cool, and I was like, you know what, I'll pull the trigger on that. It looks nice. So, yeah, any futuristic, like, crazy sports title, you know I'm a sucker for that. I eventually caved on that. Before we get to the Switch games that will take up more than half of and the rest of this video, I also added quite a few books to my Hardcore Gaming 101 library, which it previously had, like, 3 books in it. I had Shoot 'em Ups Volume 2, Wrestling with Pixels, and Castlevania, and that's all great. And now I was able to add quite a few over the holidays. Guide to Shoot 'em Ups Volume 1, which includes the R-Type series, the Thunder Force series, the Aleste series, and a couple other ones that jump out at me. Rekka, Summer Carnival 92 Rekka, that's a great game. Lords of Thunder. So, cool stuff like that. I basically had picked Volume 2 over Volume 1 for the first purchase of that, because I was like, oh, a couple more series that I'd probably read about more. But now I've got both. And then, related to that, we've got Konami Shooters, which of course includes all the Gradius, all the Parodius, Salamander, Twin Bee, And then ones that jump out at me up here, Scramble and Time Pilot, they're really, really old ones. Axelay from the Super Nintendo. And XEXEX, or ZXX, or however the fuck you say that. So that's Konami Shooters. And then we also have Contra and other Konami classics. Most of my Hardcore Gaming 101 library at this point is Konami Focus, apparently, because it's Konami Shooters, Konami Classics, Castlevania. So funny how that happens. But this has, of course, Contra. It's got, yeah, it says right here, Mystical Ninja, Rocket Knight and Sparkster, Sunset Riders, Jackal, and a lot, like, really, really comprehensive on Konami, because there's a lot of obscure stuff. So this goes into a lot of their Sharp X68000 games, a lot of their Famicom titles that never left Japan, so lots to see here that I'm not really familiar with. Oh, of course, you've got some of their stuff released as Ultra on the NES, like Roller Games and Monster in My Pocket was, I think, Konami, yeah. But yeah, Roller Games, Base Wars. Yes, that's a smorgasbord in there. And then lastly, this is a hardcover one here. Japanese video game obscurities, because it's always fun to read about fun import titles that you've never had the chance to buy until you go out of your way for them. So these are really, really obscure stuff in here too. This is not Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. Let me say that. It's not Sin and Punishment on the N64. It does have Pepsi Man. It's Pepsi Man. Let's see, the Great Battle Series with all the Japanese Gundam and Ultraman and Kamen Rider stuff, which has like 50 games on the Super Famicom, I swear. A lot of stuff from Human, because Human doesn't get their stuff published over here very often. Just crazy, like the developer names too that jump out at me. I'm like, what the fuck? Kowloon's Gate on the PS1. Sakura Wars, I know that one. The Hybrid Front, a Sega game that looks like a tactical RPG, no wonder. And so on and so forth. Yeah, it is so hard to actually pick one out from here because, like, this is the obscure stuff. So that's fun. There's a few cool additions to my gaming book library as well for this month. I don't want to fall down the rabbit hole of like buying like every Hardcore Gaming 101 book at this point, but coming across those is definitely good. I've got a few big box titles here for the Switch. These were the things that did particularly go on sale on Amazon, and I was like, oh god, it's a big box. It's very tempting. I have to grab it. So that includes Gear Shifters here, published by Numskull. So pretty cool. And this basically looks like a roguelite shoot 'em up with a car motif. Sounds really, really cool. It's top down, almost like Spy Hunter too. Like it's got like a horizontal shoot 'em up layout, but Spy Hunter laid over the top of it. Car combat, and upgrade your cars and stuff, and just like keep rolling out with a Twisted Metal type vehicle. Seems really, really cool actually. Also by Numskull, this is Treasures of the Aegean. I should say this was like $18. This was like $20. Like these are really good sales for big box stuff, and you get really really skeptical of it. It's like, why is it on sale? Is it a terrible game with a big box release? These seem pretty cool. Treasures of the Aegean, a side-scrolling parkour platformer. With a time travel mechanic, I think. No, it's not time travel. It's something else has time travel. I'm losing track of so many things in here. Yeah, it just looks cool. I like the art style and the setting. It's got sort of ancient civilization, exploring the ruins type of thing. So cool stuff there. We've got 2 Point Campus, a game I'll probably play for 4 hours in one sitting and not be able to put down, and then stop and then never play again because I don't know where I'll be picking up if I ever do. But look, it's got a big box with a really nice book in it. It's really cool, like sort of the things that you can do in it. It's got a map, and you get extra DLC on there. So yeah, so cool, smaller big box stuff. And then if we're gonna talk about big box stuff, we'll check out this Roland Gunner plus Overpower, which is the DLC for that game. Big box collector's edition from Strictly Limited. I haven't gone through any of the real bonus stuff on any of this, but this is one thing in particular that I really need to pull out and show everybody, because it's got, it's got a postcard. Strictly Limited does postcards. It's got patch, soundtrack, art book, nice little keychain right here. But the thing that really put it over the top for me is that in this box is a snow globe. I have never seen that before, and I was like, "What the hell is this? What do you mean by a snow globe?" It's like this. It's a box. It's a rectangular sort of 3D style box. So you got that's on the front, and then there's a scene on the back, and you can actually swap out with other art cards in here the scene. And then it's really tough to get these. But yeah, then it's all pink floaties inside there, like the bullets from the game. So that looks awesome. This is actually still in stock on Strictly Limited's website too. I think it's about $75 for this edition, plus shipping, of course. And like I said, the snow globe thing is the one that really put it over for me. But with this as well, I also justified buying this because, usually when you have these games that get released on limited run or strictly limited or special reserve, blah blah blah, you usually have to keep in mind VGNY Soft in particular. They have to get licenses for fairly cheap eShop games. Yeah, art book. This is a big double-sided poster here. It's a huge poster, actually. And you go, okay, well, if I just want to play that game, and the physical isn't the most important thing in the world to me, I can probably get that on eShop for $10, 15 maybe. But Roland Gunner is still a game that at regular price is $20, and the DLC is $10, so it's still a $30 game for everything that's in here for just the software. So that's also was a big factor in that, because I've seen this game. This is, of course, there's a shoot 'em up if you couldn't tell. I've seen this game on all the best shoot 'em up lists for the Switch on the DLC, and yeah, just really, really good way to get this. I think I was pretty happy, and like I said, it's a fucking snow globe in there. That's awesome. And then we've got a stack this big of just regular plain case Switch releases. Let's fire them off, starting with the very silly Alpaca Ball AllStars. This is the kind of thing that you can get. I think I want to say it's 15 or 20 on the eShop, so not usual price. It is not the cheapest. That clip is not holding this well, actually. Sorry about that. But yeah, Alpaca Ball AllStars. It's alpacas playing soccer. It's Rocket League or whatever, and it looks really silly, and you'd probably look at that and be like, that's a game you buy for the gimmick to have it on your on a physical as part of your collection. And I would say yes, I would do that. But I've seen the reviews, and it's actually supposed to be pretty fun. So usually getting 8 out of 10s. So that's pretty cool. Breathing my nose sucks lately. Next, we've got Rock of Ages 3 Make a Break. Game published by Modus. We're not a company that I have the most faith in when it comes to games. So I see their budget titles, they come out all the time. You have to filter them out from the other guys like Sedesco, Microids, another one sitting in front of me here. All that kind of stuff, and say I wonder if that game's actually any good, or if they're just putting out cheap physicals. And that kind of is what they're doing here with Rock of Ages. But it's the third game in a series, for one thing. And I finally looked it up because it was so cheap. And it's tower defense and racing, and it's also got all these religious imagery and mythology and stuff. So for not that expensive, I think I paid $12 for this. Same with the next one I have. I figured that was worth a try. The one thing I will say, actually, though, about Modus, because I just opened this up before I started the video, at least Modus, they seem fairly committed to supporting developers from various places, because, let's see, Scully is from, that's Canada. Trine 4 is a company from Finland, it looks like. And Rock of Ages is Chilean. This map is not very precise, so I'm just guessing. But yeah, that does sound pretty cool. So, respect for that. We've got Quest for Excalibur, Puy de Fou. This game, again, this is literally $12 on Amazon. This is the main reason that I bought it. Published by Microids. This seems like an adventure game that's also, so it's an adventure game about King Arthur and Excalibur, and apparently it's based on a theme park or something like that, or set up like a theme park. It's been very difficult to get, like, a lot of information about this, but for $12, sort of Arthurian legend stuff, I figured it was worth a try. Interesting little concept of a game here. I have no idea what to expect at this point. What do we got next? Jojo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R. This is the complete, upgraded, and of course translated version of All-Star Battle from the PS3, which I actually had before, and just it not being translated was somewhat of a deterrent for me playing it all that much. But with JoJo's being one of the only animes that I've seen in my life at this point, and I actually do quite enjoy it, seemed important to get the English version of All-Star Battle R. I had actually put it off, too, because I got on sale on PS5 The Eyes of Heaven, which is another JoJo's game, and I was like, I haven't even played that game, so I'm not going to go buy this yet. But then Eyes of Heaven is not the same, like, it's not a proper, like, 2D style or 2.5D, like, Street Fighter type fighter. It's more of an arena fighter, but I did not understand what was going on. It was very slow and awkward, and I was just like, okay, I don't want this game anymore. I don't want this. I want a traditional, I want Street Fighter with JoJo's characters. That's what I want. So that's what this is. So made sure to get that. We've got some, let's see, how many fucking limited run games are in here? 3, 4, from various, purchased through various avenues or received from various avenues. But we've got some limited run titles. Start with the one that I ordered the traditional way of paying limited run for it and waiting, and it got here last week. Frogun. Frogun is a, mostly PS1 seems to be the main type of inspiration, but it's a 3D platformer where you play as a girl with a frog that shoots its tongue out like a grappling hook. It looks adorable, so definitely type of 3D platformer that I would be into. What we've got next that I just bought today, Quake. This is at Best Buy right now for $30. It turns, so like if you don't want to buy this physically, I understand that. I also kind of didn't, but it's just like the package of Quake for the Switch, and that's available on modern consoles now, for $10 regular price is such an unbelievable deal for what you get out of this game. It is a remake. It's got the campaign, it's got the extra DLC, it's got the, other episodes, however you want to call it, that it does their games from the 90s. It's got online multiplayer, it's got local co-op, it's got all kinds of things on here. It was only $10 on the eShop, which I think is such a great deal. Of course, now I paid $30 for it, even though I already owned it. But it just felt like a game that I have it on 64, which is not this version, it's a slightly different version. I had it digital on the eShop, and now I just felt like, out of appreciation, to buy it for $30 on a cartridge for Switch seemed appropriate. But buy that game. Buy the Quake remaster, whichever way you want to. It's so good. And we've got 2 other ones that I finally came in at Best Buy. I received these as gifts for Christmas. We got Double Dragon Neon, the good one. Not Double Dragon 4, which I've heard is trash and looks like trash, honestly, and I'm glad that I haven't caved and bought Double Dragon 4 by Arc System Works. I don't know why they messed that up, but Double Dragon 4 does not seem good. Double Dragon Neon from Way Forward seems awesome. Heard nothing but that's not really true. Back when it came out, it got bad reviews. But the legend has persisted, and Double Dragon Neon seems to be the way to go for the reboot of this series. For a good beat 'em up. This has got a big old thick boy of an art book / manual in here that looks lovely. I appreciate the art style. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it is very way forward. And yeah, If the gameplay holds up, I'm down. Double Dragon Neon. And Axiom Verge 2. I never finished Axiom Verge 1 because it was too much. But I thought it was amazing. And I just figured once Axiom Verge 2, I got my hands on it. Which, of course, it's coming to the PlayStation Plus freebies next month. So I could have tried it there, but no, it's fine. I wanted to pay for it anyway. I wanted it. Again, this was a gift. But I wanted it in this form anyway. Again, beautiful, not as thick of an art book, but it's a more, like, written out type of thing. Metroidvania, if you haven't played any of these games, Metroidvania with just so much depth, like, overwhelming. Like I said, I didn't actually properly finish the first game, but I love the art style, I love the vibe, I love, like, Thomas Happ Games, like, kudos to you. Like, I am very much looking forward to diving into this and seeing if I can see my way through to the end. I just like the cover of this. This thing here looks incredible for pixel art. So, yeah. Alright, now we're past the limited run. We've got another funky game that I got for a gift. Chocobo GP. I have gone at length about how much I love Chocobo Racing for the PS1. I got that game as a kid and somewhat grew up on it as, you know, someone... I had an N64 and a PlayStation. I never had Mario Kart 64 as a child, but I did have Chocobo Racing. And I loved it. And I got really excited for Chocobo GP. And then all of the, like, the dark clouds rolled in for Square Enix making this, like, highly monetized, like, just mess of a game that, you know, is so good beneath layers and layers of crappy microtransactions and money grubbing, and I was just like, no way, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry, I won't let my feelings about it be ruined. But I did just get it, the full version, physical, from Europe, as a gift. Fantastic. And like 2 days after I got this, for an early Christmas gift, I saw an article that said that they're doing away with the, like, Mithril purchases, which is the currency, because it's like fucking crypto, that you gotta buy the in-game currency, which is, I mean, every game is like this. But they're basically doing away with those transactions. So in the next couple weeks, this might actually be a massively improved game that I just received the full version of on a cartridge. So I'm not going to play this one yet, but I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'm very excited for the possibility that I could play a completely unsullied version of that game, or that at the very least I could play whatever's there, having not paid for it myself. Cuphead, finally. Right along with Quake. I bought Cuphead and Quake today. They were the only two things that I bought at Best Buy today. I spent $70 between the two of them, and I have bought Quake 3 times in recent years, and I have bought Cuphead. I have paid money to things included in this compilation 4 times now. The original time I bought Cuphead on Xbox One and didn't play it, then the time that I got it on Switch after it came to Switch and I did play it and I beat it for the first time, then the DLC from earlier this year, and now I've paid for the entire package one more time for $40, but it's finally a thing that I own physically. Cuphead, one of the greatest games of the past 10 years. I cannot deny that. It's a phenomenal game. You don't have to buy this thing, but you should try Cuphead. And then this will be the last one. I won't be able to get it out of the fucking sleeve, but this is the Atari 50 collection. It doesn't fit in this fucking sleeve, Atari. What's wrong with you? Atari, Digital Eclipse. Yeah, nobody else's names are on these other than Atari and Digital Eclipse. Digital Eclipse, of course, being very good at doing these compilations and the emulation involved in getting them. It's not in here because it's in my Switch because I've actually been playing it. Atari 50 is a lovely little collection that is more, if you don't just buy it for the fact that it has a compilation, it is much more like an interactive museum experience than a lot of games that are like this, or a lot of compilations that come out are like. It's got a lot of videos. It sort of has a setup where you go through the eras and divisions of Atari over the years with interviews, flyers, posters, old commercials, all kinds of stuff like that. And I really, really appreciate the way that it's been set up. It's even got, these are honestly the best part of the compilation, because some of these original games, especially when translated to a Switch, have not held up that great. But it's got some really, really good new games that Digital Eclipse made to either inspired by or to replicate certain features of the old games that were in here. And this is the Steelbook version, by the way. That's why it doesn't fit in the fucking sleeve. But yeah, like, this is a lot of stuff, and it's never been done on an Atari collection before, because this isn't just arcade games and 2600 games. This is, of course, old arcade. It's got 26. It's got 52 and 78 games, some of which were on the last Atari Flashback collection. This also has some Jaguar and Lynx games, which have never been released, like, anywhere. Like, this is a full, like, this is not Atari. This is the entirety of that name brand for the 25 years that they were relevant to the industry before becoming whatever brand value they have left now. So I really appreciate what this is and the work that was put into it to make it just a really, really good presentation, interactive experience. I do recommend this compilation for Atari. It's very good. And that's it. There's a lot of Switch games this month. I have nowhere near enough time to play them all, but like I said, I've been playing this Atari thing. Some of these are just for collecting purposes, such as the Quake and the Cuphead, which I've already played and bought. Yeah, and just some silly things. Some books to read. And I hope that y'all had a similar smorgasbord of games and whatnot and game accoutrement to explore on your holiday season, and that next year will be full with equally fun stuff. That's it. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy Holidays. See you next time.